let's wait for this to load. Take a look. Alright. And I'm just going to make sure everything's working on here. And see how far behind that is. Alright. So this is Dragon Ball Card Warriors. This game is effectively just a Hearthstone clone, and I'm just going to review some of the cards in it and a little bit about the gameplay just to give a little bit more information on what it is in case anyone's interested in it, and also explain a lot of the flaws with the game so that if you think about getting interested in it, you'll realize why I don't think it's going to have a whole lot of longevity. So from here, what we have is essentially Hearthstone. And when I say essentially Hearthstone, I'm not joking. This game has got 30 HP. It's just everything is multiplied by 1,000 like Yu-Gi-Oh! But you effectively have 30 HP just like in Hearthstone. And you have various cards that have stats that are just multiplied by 1,000, but would effectively be just like Hearthstone. So right here I have this Gohan card. It would effectively be a 1-mana 3/4 with Taunt in Hearthstone. And if you know Hearthstone stats, you know that that is absolutely bonkers. So as you can tell, this game is already pretty ridiculously fast. Now, keep in mind, there's no hero powers in this game, so you don't have like the mage ping to pick off things that only have 1 health. So you have this 1-mana 5/1 here, Videl, and she is absolutely insane. Just being able to put down a card that deals 1/6 of your health on turn 1 is just stupid. And if they don't play guards, then it's just going to go through. Of course, this meta involves a lot of cheap guards, so you can see that this is a 1-mana guard, this is a 1-mana guard. And you play a lot of guards to make sure that their Videls don't stomp you, and to also try and see if you can protect your own Videls, so that you can do some pretty cheap and easy damage. So that's kind of the general meta that you're going to see if you play this game. But there are a few other things about this game that kind of make it a little bit more interesting, in my opinion. So this is like if someone just took all balancing restrictions off of Hearthstone and just put it into a game and removed hero powers. So when we're talking about a thing that's that kind of concept, it ends up being quite hilarious to me because it's fun in its own little way. So I'll go over a few of the cards that I've just picked for this deck, and I'll probably go over a few more cards too that I don't have yet. But so this card is a 2-mana 2/3 that gives a static +2/+2. If this card existed in Hearthstone, it would be run in every single deck ever. So like you can tell that these cards are just strictly more powerful than Hearthstone cards. With this card is actually a legendary, and it says that you just get to bring out a card from your extra deck that costs 3 or less, which means that it's just straight value. It's just value town. So they are not just, this is called an event card, and event cards are effectively just spells. So there's other event cards like this Golden Fighter, which just deals 7 damage for 3 mana to a creature on the board, which is just ridiculous. If cards like these existed in Hearthstone, they'd be like ridiculous staples. Although this card does exist in Hearthstone, 3-mana draw 2. But the thing that gets more ridiculous is that as you get later on, there's cards like Shenron, which is draw 2 cards and then put 1 card back into your deck, but you do it 3 times. So it's literally draw 6 cards, put 3 back, which is just absolutely nuts. So as you can tell, this game was not like carefully considered for balance when it was created. So there are a few cards that are obviously like really crazy good. This is the only legendary I've crafted. Its effect is consume 2 purples, which I'll explain consumption real quick. So whenever one of your units dies, so Videl is a purple. Whenever one of your units dies, you get a purple. And you can expend that, or some things just require you to have a purple in your stock in order to even be able to use it. So the way that that would work is if you had a Videl and a Hercule both die, then you'd have 2 purple, and then this Vegeta card would be able to consume them, and it deals 5k to the whole board, which is just amazing. Since board clears are actually very, very scarce in this game, which you would think that they would be more common, given that this game is like so ridiculously fast. But that just means that this card is absolutely nuts. So not only is it a 5-drop, so you can use it to relieve pressure if you're getting kind of hammered early, but it's also it requires purples, and purples are just like mega staples right now for your 1-drops. So because they're the 1-drops, you're going to get them out early. They're going to die early, and because they're going to die early, that leads into you having your setup for this card to go in and wipe the board and just give yourself mass card advantage. So, yeah, this Vegeta card is absolutely nuts. And if I had enough to craft more than one, I would have, but yeah. Interestingly, one thing I noticed is that this card costs 4,500 to create, and it's clearly a better legendary than a lot of other legendaries. But then, if you go back to this one's 3,750. And it's just interesting that they weight the legendaries based off of how useful they think they are. And this Frieza one's even cheaper, it's 3,000. It's not very good, but because I pulled it, I was just like, I'm going to put this in my deck because it looks fun. And it's consume one of every single type, and then KO all characters on the field, which is fun. And imagine if a card in Hearthstone, like there have been cards in Hearthstone, but just imagine, you could just drop a card from your hand that's 10 mana, 1326. How do you get rid of that other than just a direct KO card? Like, how do you deal that much damage to a single card? The honest answer is you can't. I mean, in this game maybe, but yeah, you can see that like the stats just get ridiculous as you get higher and higher up the chain. So like this one is Kid Buu. He's a 14/16 for 8. And then if you own a blue, you don't have to consume it, you just have to own it. You can either deal 4,000 damage to your opponent's leader, so face damage. So that's literally like ping for 4. Or you can ping any character on the field. So if they have like a guard that has 4 mana left, you can just knock it right out, which is pretty nuts. But what you'll find is that most of the cards in the game actually have like that effect. Other cards have Swift Attack, which I don't think lets you hit face, which makes me reconsider running this card. But if it did let you hit face, it would be absolutely stupid. Just 13 out of the 30 health, just gone. Like, you can see that this game has a few balance issues, but like I said, I don't think this character can attack the opponent immediately after appearing, is what it says, but I don't think that's right. I'm pretty sure Swift Attack doesn't let you hit face, but I'll have to test that out. So let me see. There are other cards that have Swift Attack. This one just requires 1 blue. So there's another mechanic in this game called the bank. So because this game is so fast, if you're playing a slower deck, you would like have absolutely no chance to get out these big cards. So you'd probably be wondering, well, Tim, if you understand that, why are you running all of these big cards? Well, there's this thing called the bank. So what the bank is every single time you don't spend mana, that gets stored over for the next turn. Not even for the next turn, like you get to choose when you use it, and it will keep storing. So you can store like 28 mana in your bank, and then expend it, and just have a 38 mana turn, which is crazy. So what cards like this Trunks does is it restores your bank, because once you use your bank, it breaks. And while it's broken, you can't store energy, and it's just gone. So it's supposed to be like a one and done, but certain cards will restore that for you. So that's good to have for later on in the game. And yeah, it makes it kind of interesting. So you also have a side deck called the SP deck, which I mentioned that cards like... Oh, and I sorted. Cards like this will let you get the SP characters out of your deck. So this is your SP deck. You only get 5 cards. So this one is 4 mana, 5/5, adds 2,000 to the attack of all characters on my field, which is pretty good. This one is 4 mana, 6/6, and it has the same effect as Buu, only it consumes. This one is 5 instead of 4, consumes a green. This one is a 1 mana, 7/4. Yeah, let that one sink in. If you have a blue at all, then it gets Swift Attack. So that's pretty crazy. And this one is much weaker in stats because they're balancing it around not needing to have anything. You don't need a blue, you don't need a purple, anything like that. This one's just deal 5,000 damage to your opponent's leader or to a character. So that's kind of how they're balancing the cards, is based around how much extra you need to invest in order to get that to work. So other SP cards tend to have like self-buff effects, like there's a Perfect Cell. That's a good example. Where did he go? Right here. So this is a 5 mana 8/8, but if you own a green, it becomes a 5 mana 12/12, which is, yeah, kind of crazy. And then other ones, let me see, I think I have a legendary one. That's a good example to use, because most of the legendaries are exactly like, where is it? This one. So most of the legendary cards in this game they bounce all of a particular named character or characters to your hand, and then they have a second effect where they consume some type of resource, and then they deal damage to the opponent's leader for each copy of that named card. And they really wanted these to be like the big finishers. I haven't seen anyone make a theme deck around this and actually try and play that. I think that if there may be a Videl or Hercule type of card like this that gets printed in another set, I don't anticipate there's going to be another set, but if there was some type of Hercule or Videl, I could see it being used in that type of capacity. But for the most part, yeah, that's just not happening. Obviously, I don't own every card because I'm not going to spend money on this game, but let's see. Yeah, this is the same thing. Like, return all Gohan, Goku, and Gotenks cards to your hand. Blast them for 4k for each. Return all Vegeta and Trunks. This one doesn't have that. It's just gain 1000 attack. Let's draw one card, gain 8k attack. But a lot of them do have that effect. That one's no effect. Yeah, this one. Return all Gohan, Goten, and Trunks cards, deal 4k for each. And there's a lot of cards that just bounce all of a particular type of card on your field back to your hand to try and get that type of effect out. So, why do I have 3 of these? Oh, I can dismantle these. I'm going to do that later. So, that's kind of what they were trying to go for with SP cards. I don't feel like they really succeeded in that. I like to use my SP cards to be cheaper and to get some quick damage in, either on a card to clear out a guard so that my units can go face, or to give a quick little boost to make my units strong enough to just steamroll them. And I think that that's honestly the more consistent strategy than trying to run a theme deck, because there's just not enough cards to really do that. So outside of the SP cards, okay, I'm showing everything. There's a lot of zero cost event cards that really don't do a whole lot. So this is a 0 mana, draw 1, send 1 card from your hand back to deck, so that's a net -1. Yeah, it's 0 mana, but that's not really that great. There's other cards that remove all effects applied to either all characters, all androids, so on and so forth, and they usually don't cost much. I don't know exactly what that would entail because I haven't seen a whole lot of stuff. Like, I haven't seen like paralysis, I haven't seen other types of effects, so it may just be like removing status buffs. So, could be potentially useful, but I've never seen anyone run them because everyone's just too busy playing the vanilla game, because the vanilla game is just so strong. I do see a lot of people running this card. It's a 0 mana 1/1 taunt, and there's some benefit to that, but honestly, I don't particularly care for this card. I don't think that it's going to be as useful because the big issue is that everyone's running Mr. Satan, and Mr. Satan can clear it so fast and so easy and still have plenty of health left over. So it's really not going to get to the Videl. It may stop the Videl for a turn, but it's not going to do a whole lot in the long run if they just bide their time. So, other interesting cards. Let me see. Oh, Kaioken is hilarious. Triple the attack of a card on your field, but it can't attack the leader. That's unfortunate. And you know what? I think that leader terminology is actually very key to the swift attack I was talking about before. I think you can attack characters, but not leaders. That may be how that works. But a lot of these lower mana event cards are not that useful, as you would imagine, because of their cost. After that, there's... let me see... Shenron and Perunga are hilarious. So I might go over for those. So I already showed Shenron, which was the draw 6, send 3 back. And as you can imagine, Perunga would have to be that +1. So it's literally 7 mana if I can find it. Oh, there are just so many cards to go through right now. Of course, I don't have a Perunga yet. I'm past it. Unless it's 8 mana. Hang on. I am experiencing technical difficulties right now. Let's see. Shouldn't be that hard to see a giant green dragon. There it is. So it's 7 mana. So it's literally, you can recover 5,000 hit points 3 times, so 7 mana heal 15. Or you can draw 2 cards up to 3 times, so 7 mana draw 6. Which, that's just absolutely crazy. So, due to how the bank works, and due to how the draw 2 is working, when you combine those two facets together, You can save up your bank, have, say, 25 mana saved in your bank, play a 7 mana Perunga, and still have 18 mana left over, plus your base mana to do whatever you want to do with it. So it's actually pretty useful in order to try and push for game. And the other aspect to how this game really functions is just you have all of these cards. So like this is Goku Kamehameha, 3 mana 4/4, so not amazing stats for this game, but it consumes 1 blue and deals 4,000 damage to your opponent's leader or to 1 card on the field. So this is a great cheap clear. You have plenty of blues that you're running that are going to be able to be utilized, killed off earlier, and make this able to be live when you need it. You're probably not going to be playing this on turn 3, but you have like your Dende and you have your Gohan in order to get those blues out and make this useful. I was actually running a lot more blues, so I think that I may be overcompensating by having so many of those, but like we have a blue here with the Trunks, we have a blue here with Piccolo, my Goku that's in my SP deck is also blue. And it's because of how you can cycle the deck and because you have the same type of mulligan system that you would have in Hearthstone, you actually do end up being able to get a more consistent starting hand than you otherwise would. So from there, the other thing is because this can hit your opponent's face for 4 damage, you can actually use those draw cards and get a bunch of these in hand, and assuming that you're fairly into the game, you have some extra resources saved up, you can actually start popping a bunch of these down and just pop your opponent in the face for a bunch of cheap burn damage too. I haven't actually ever had to do that because of a few other reasons, like namely my Videls are just too busy stomping their face in. But like if you weren't in that position, then that would easily be something that you could do. And other than that, like one of the weird things about this game, in my opinion, is like you have really, really beefy pseudo vanillas as legendaries, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So like assuming that you have the correct resource for this, this is a 15/19 for 8 mana. And don't get me wrong, that's pretty solid stats, but it just seems so strange to me that they have like vanillas as legendaries. And there's one that's just a pure vanilla, Majin Buu, which I believe is this one. So it's just a 7 mana 15/11 no effect legendary. That seems weird to me. I don't know why they went with that particular design. There are a few other interesting cards. So you have summon spam cards like Problem Children, 6 mana make 3 4/1s. And because of how this game works, there's not many board clears, so it's a lot harder for your opponent to deal with a bunch of cheap, easy-to-kill things. So that actually isn't terrible, although it's a little bit too high in mana to be able to reliably get it out soon enough to actually utilize. There's cheaper ones that make 1/1s and 2/1s. That would probably be more akin to the strategy you'd be looking for. Let's see. There's also the Captain Ginyu body change, which is more of an effect that you would expect to see. So it, hang on. That's Majin Buu. It's 5 mana, I know that. That's Vegeta. Where did I park my Ginyu? There it is. So this one will bounce a card on your opponent's field when it comes into play. So it's kind of playing off of that body change dynamic to try and also get rid of blocks on your opponent's side of the field that are getting in your way. So there are a lot of actually fairly beefy blocks in this game. I don't think that they're necessarily worth running. I think the cheaper blocks are more efficient, but when you do see them run, you're going to have an answer for them. So that's just one of the many things that can do it, and this also would prevent them from going back to their resource pool. But this is just an example of one of those beefy guards. 5 mana, 7/9 taunt is just crazy to me. But if you're coming from a Hearthstone perspective, you're going to be kind of blown away by how strong these cards are in comparison to Hearthstone. Like, I don't think that the balancing team actually knew what they were doing when they were going into this, and it's actually a bit crazy. Like, this is essentially Blessing of Kings +1, but it has to be used on a card that costs 3 mana or less, which those are typically the cards that you're going to want to be running anyway. That's just pretty ridiculous. This causes an SP character to appear and gives it swift attack. But, oh, this is a card that interacts with the bank as well. This just adds 1 energy to the bank. It's not amazing. I wouldn't particularly see myself running cards that add energy to the bank because there's not a whole lot that really tries to utilize the bank. It's primarily Frieza cards that are like overcosted vanillas, but you have to have energy in the bank in order to attack with them. Like this one. So 5 mana, 8/10, you must have at least 1 energy in your bank in order for this character to attack. So I think that that covers a good chunk of the cards, although there was one card that lets you choose a card and deal its damage to everything else on the field, which would have been pretty good. I think that was... I think that was a 5 mana card. Nope, not that one. Where did it go? Pretty sure it was Goku and Vegeta too, like fighting in the Saiyan Saga. Oh well, but I mean, I described the effect, so I will leave that to your imagination. Yeah, so it's essentially just, yeah, choose a character, deal its damage to every other character on the field, so that's like one of a few potential board wipes. There really just are not that many in this game. So, from there, I would also want to cover... Let me see. Well, there are cards like this, which is just KO cards on the field, as you would expect. Although, this won't KO SP characters, it will only KO characters in the main deck. Well, I can't seem to remember what card I was going to bring up. Maybe I'll pass it. Oh, so what I've noticed in the metagame is that people like to run cheap early guards. So this card is actually run a lot, but I'm not certain if I would run this card because it's 3 mana and it can be one-shot by Videl. Even though it is just strictly better than Videl, I would think that running something with a little bit more HP would be better if you're going to be running just for the purpose of having a guard. So I'm not sure if I would necessarily go with that one. And with that, I think that pretty much covers like the gist of how these cards differ from Hearthstone cards and kind of where it's going as far as how it corresponds to Hearthstone, because this is effectively just a Hearthstone clone. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can play a game. Odds are I probably won't, and then I'll just end the stream. And Ripperoonie. Oh, you know what? There is one more thing I should cover before I get into that, and that's the shop. Also the loading times. You have, like, I don't know why, but when you're just traversing the menus, every single time you do that, it makes you load and connect to the server and then come back. So it often takes like 2 to 3 seconds to perform basic actions, even things like just setting up your deck. So that's a pain in the butt. But also you have other facets to that that can get really super annoying. With how the server works, sometimes you'll be trying to edit your deck and you'll get kicked off, which is super annoying. So this is what you would think that you would be getting most often, this 8-card pack summon. But no, you typically are getting this 1-card pack summon that is not very good. So I'm going to go ahead and do a 5er because why not? But like, this is just absolutely awful that this is what they're giving you. Like a single card summon, no rarities guaranteed, you can get commons over and over again. No way to guarantee that you'll get anything higher than that, so this is a common. This is a common. Common. A rare that I have 3 copies of, and a rare. So you can see that this was not particularly amazing. And not only that, but they are not going to give you much in the way of character points to be able to craft better cards either. So this is obviously super bad. Getting an 8-card pack summon would be better, and you can do that with the coins that you earn in-game. It costs 2,000 coins in order to be able to make a pack summon. Keep that in mind. In order to get premium or rare packs, you have to purchase those with points, or you have to earn them through your daily logins, and you only get like a couple of them a month, so you're not going to be getting these very often. The premium pack summons are typically rewards for doing well in the ranked season, so you just do not see these very often. So keep that in mind. Now, the way that you get coins is, of course, doing daily quests. So I just completed one of my daily quests, so I'm going to go ahead and collect that. I get 30 coins. Now, do you remember how much it cost to get a pack? 2,000. Do you know how many dailies you have to do in order to get one pack of cards? 25 days worth. That is awful. Not only that, because you can't always guarantee that when you're trying to play, you're going to be able to find an opponent because there's such a limited quantity of players. You're very likely to not be able to get the 50 coin pack, or the 50 coin reward either. So when you're actually trying to play the game and you fail, well, you miss out on over half of your daily reward. And if you're going for 30 coins a day, trying to reach 2,000 coins, that's going to be a very, very long time. Now, there are weeklies, which you get one card pack ticket, this is the pack ticket, so that is the 8 card pack, so this is good. You get a card pack ticket for winning 3 battles, if you can ever get around to getting the battles to work, and then you get 300 coins for fighting in 5 battles. So that's okay. That means that you get an 8 card pack per week, plus if you can do all of the dailies, you get 380 coins, so that's just shy of 20%. So every 6 days you can get another pack. Or not every 6 days, sorry. 300 plus 80 times 7. So that's 560 plus 300 is 860. So that means every 2.5 weeks. So there's my correction to that. So every 5 weeks, that means that you will get 7 card packs if you play daily and never skip a single daily. That is terrible. Now, there are things that you get for completing the game, which I've completed all of that, so I can't show those to you, but they're primarily the single card packs. There's a few other exceptions here and there, but they're mostly those single card packs, but you'll get like 150 of them. So it's a respectable amount, but not something that I would consider like crazy good. So this game is downright stingy when it comes to giving you enough. Now, you will get about enough card points, which are the crafting materials, in order to craft one legendary after you complete everything. So you do have that, but it's really not a whole lot. So I'm going to try and see if I can do a ranked battle and see if I can't find someone to fight. I probably won't be able to, but we'll see. Magic 8 Ball, what do you say about me finding an opponent? Outlook not good. So, I've hit cancel before, and I think that it doesn't like it when you do that, because I was not able to play for the rest of the day. So I'm going to let this time out. It times out at 60 seconds, and then I'm going to see if someone's willing to do casual. But for the most part, I've played 5 ranked games. I've won 4 of them. And, oh, wow, I actually got in. But I played 5 ranked games. I've won 4 of them. And I'm ranked like 200. So, yeah. Alrighty, so this is a pretty good starting hand. You know, I'll hold on to you. I've already got 1 Videl, and a Hercule and another Videl. So this is pretty much exactly what you want, because I have some beefier cards to come later on in the game. So I'm just going to sit here and start biding my time with these. Actually, I do have a bank. You know what? I'm just going to roll YOLO here. See whether or not he has an answer. And then see if I can't beat the crap out of him really fast. Although, since my bank is now gone, and I don't have any cards that I can play at this current mana level, it's probably going to cause more problems than it solves. Because the bank is gone, so I'm not going to be gaining that energy, so I could just be wasting my turns, just attacking face. Yep, looks like I'm not going to be able to play anything unless I draw something that I can play. And my 4 mana card is just kill a card, so that's not going to help me either. But you can see in this fair and balanced game where I started with 3 mana, I just played 11k worth of attack, and then I did 11k face damage. Imagine in Hearthstone, you're just playing Hearthstone, and then they did 11 damage to you on turn 1. Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. I think that they're going to go for some type of AoE buff, but I don't really have a response for it. But if they do kill my board, if they have anything left over, my Vegeta is going to be able to come in and wipe his board, no problem. But honestly, my biggest mistake in this game so far was keeping the Vegeta in my opening hand. I probably shouldn't have, but I mean, I mulligan so well. The fact that I'm getting all of these higher cost cards really is not that relevant. Oh, I haven't seen someone play this tactic before. So he is adding energy to his bank, and he's going to expend all of that energy. This is one thing I hate about this interface. I cannot see how much energy he has. There we go. Oh. I do believe that I am dead. So that's a legendary card that adds 10,000 to the attack of everything on your board. And as you can see, I'm dead. So that's how fair and balanced this game is. So yeah, GG. LOL. BBQ. That's hilarious, actually. I mean, that's a very specific hand that you have to get, but I mean, that kind of combo play is hilarious to me. Ladies and gentlemen, Dragon Ball Super Warriors. So that was what, turn... So he went first. Played that turn 2, 3, 4. Turn 4. Oh man, that is just hilarious. So now I'm 4 and 2 on the rank ladder. So if I had sent Hercule to start picking them off, I still would have died. So yeah, the only way I could have done that is if I sacked the Videl and knew that he was going to do that preemptively, which there was no way I could have known that. So yeah, GG, I got wrecked. But yeah, that is Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Card Warriors. I keep wanting to say Dragon Ball Super Warriors. So I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you later.